how America is falling into a nation of haves and have-nots. Welcome to the new American reality. A land that once prided itself on opportunity and upward mobility is now slipping deeper into a stark divide. We're witnessing the slow, brutal collapse of the middle class and the rise of an economic caste system. The so-called land of the free is quietly becoming a land of locked gates and empty plates. The promise of the American dream has been replaced with a new unspoken rule. If you weren't born into it, you're likely never getting it. Once upon a time, America loved to sell itself as the land of opportunity. Work hard, play by the rules, and you too could carve out your piece of the pie. But let's be real. Today, that's a fairy tale we tell kids to keep them docile. The reality? America has been hijacked by elites who hoard wealth at the top, while the majority scrape, hustle, and bleed for scraps. The American dream has been repossessed and resold to Wall Street, and most of us weren't even invited to the auction. This is the story of a nation tilting hard toward the few who have, and away from the many who do not. This is the story of America's descent into the age of haves and have-nots. 1. The disappearing middle class. In the 1970s, over 60% of Americans were considered middle class. As of the mid-2020s, that number has dropped to barely 40% and shrinking. Why? Because wages have stagnated, while housing, healthcare, and education costs have exploded. The wealth once spread across communities now concentrates in a handful of zip codes and tax shelters. 2. Wealth inequality by the numbers. The top 10% of Americans now hold over 70% of the nation's wealth. The bottom 50%, they own just 2.5%. One billionaire earns more in a day than most workers earn in decades. Even among the working class, the distinction between just getting by and being homeless is often just one missed paycheck. 3. Jobs exist, but not security. Many new jobs are low-wage, part-time, or gig-based, with no benefits and no upward path. Meanwhile, automation, AI, and outsourcing eliminate stable careers. For millions, it's not about thriving, it's about surviving. You can work 40, 50, even 60 hours a week and still not afford rent. 4. The safety net is being cut away. Programs meant to protect the poor, SNAP, Medicaid, housing vouchers, disability, are being stripped or made impossible to access. Under bills like the Big Beautiful Bill, these lifelines are vanishing. Instead of help, the poor are met with mockery, judgment, and punishment. 5. The rich buy power. The poor are powerless. Billionaires fund both political parties, set the media narrative, and get laws written for their benefit. Corporations dodge taxes while regular Americans face audits for child tax credits. Wall Street is thriving, but Main Street is dying. And the policies are designed that way. 6. Housing, the ultimate divide. A house used to mean stability. Now it's an investment class. Investors buy up entire neighborhoods and raise rents beyond reach. Homelessness isn't an accident, it's a byproduct of profit-driven housing policy. You should have to work to eat has turned into you should have to suffer to live. 7. Education and healthcare, only if you can afford them. Private school, private doctors, clean water, safe food, only if you can pay. Public systems are defunded and overwhelmed. College graduates drown in debt while the elite send their children to Ivy Leagues debt-free. Life expectancy is rising for the rich and falling for the poor. 8. Cultural divide and social decay. The media paints poverty as laziness and wealth as virtue. Poor people are told to just get a better job, as if the system isn't rigged to keep them in place. Meanwhile, rich influencers post grind-set videos from their yachts, blind to the fact that most Americans can't even afford a dentist. What this leads to: two Americas, one gated and guarded, the other struggling and scorned. An economy that grows on paper but leaves people behind in reality. A nation where poverty is criminalized and compassion is politicized. A people told to work harder in a system designed to never let them win. The haves, America's aristocracy in disguise. The top 1% doesn't just own wealth, they own the system. They bankroll politicians, rig markets, and rewrite tax codes. They don't just live in America. They own America like it's their private country club. They call themselves job creators, but let's not kid ourselves. They don't create jobs. They create debt, gig contracts, and exploitable labor pools. Their wealth multiplies even during crises, pandemics, wars, recessions. When regular folks sink, The haves just buy more yachts, launch vanity rockets, and bid on art pieces worth more than an entire neighborhood block. The have-nots, America's disposable majority, wages are flatlined while costs skyrocket. Food, housing, healthcare, education, all priced with the upper middle class and elite in mind. Meanwhile, the average worker's paycheck hasn't kept up since bell-bottoms were in style. Millions are one medical bill away from financial collapse, one missed rent check from homelessness, one pink slip away from total ruin. That's not freedom. That's modern serfdom. The have-nots are told to work harder, but they're already working multiple jobs. They're told to learn to budget, while billionaires get tax write-offs for private jets. How the divide happened. Globalization and outsourcing. Factories closed, jobs shipped overseas, workers replaced with robots or cheaper labor. Politicians shrugged, elites cashed in. Financialization. Wall Street stopped serving the economy and started cannibalizing it. Housing, healthcare, even water became commodities. Political capture. Democrats and Republicans alike bow to corporate donors. Your vote? A whisper. A megaphone. That's why policy always tilts toward the haves. Culture of blame. Instead of fixing the system, the have-nots are blamed. Lazy, entitled, bad choices. Meanwhile, the real freeloaders are billionaires, paying lower tax rates than nurses. The illusion of middle-class America still pretends there's a middle class. Newsflash, that's a mirage. Most people who think they're middle class are drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck. The so-called middle exists only because we refuse to admit the truth. There are only two classes left: those who own the country and those who rent their existence from them. So here we are, America, the richest country in the world, rotting from within. A place where billionaires live like pharaohs while millions can't afford a dentist. A place where the game isn't just rigged, the rulebook's been shredded and rewritten in gold ink. The haves call it capitalism. The have-nots call it survival. And unless something breaks, unless the canyon is bridged, the have-nots aren't just going to struggle. They're going to vanish into permanent poverty while the haves pop champagne on the balcony, watching the empire burn. America didn't just fall into the haves and have-nots. It was pushed, and the pushers are still cashing checks. This is not a dystopian vision of the future. This is now. This is today's America, where the distance between the mansion and the tent is measured in policy, prejudice, and power, where success is inherited and struggle is ignored, where people sleep in their cars outside the hospitals they clean. We are standing at a breaking point. Either we build a nation where everyone has a place, or we accept a future ruled by the few while the rest fight for scraps. The American dream is not dead, but it is being auctioned off. The question is, are we going to watch the sale in silence? Or are we going to stand up and say, this country belongs to all of us, not just the ones who bought it? Thank you for stopping by The Things That Bother Me and watching my video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.